Scenarios are used to do what-if analysis. You can change multiple values, multiple cells in your spreadsheet, and see how those impact other values in the sheet. You can change multiple input cells up to 32. For example, if you wanted to see how changing your prices and certain expenses would affect your revenue for items sold, you could use scenarios to do that and maybe create a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. In our case, we want to look at a budget. It's a simple example, looking at our income and our different expenses. We have our income left here, and what we want to do is put more towards our credit card so that we can pay that off, not pay as much interest, and maybe after we pay it off, maybe we could put more towards our savings account. Plus, we don't really want to do a lot with that. It's a small number, and in case we have car repairs or something like that, an emergency that comes up, we will have a little bit left in our account. Let's look at 3 different scenarios. What we're going to do is change the groceries, entertainment, and savings expenses. Those are more flexible. Some of these others are fixed types of expenses, and we can't change those. We'll have 3 scenarios for those. The first one is just using our original budget numbers, which are here. We want to keep that in there because when you do a summary report, you want to keep those original numbers just in case. The other 2 scenarios will be decreasing each of those amounts to $250. And then our kind of lowest scenario, that we don't want to really go to our lowest numbers, but that will at least give us an idea of if we lowered everything as much as we possibly could, then how is that going to affect our income left? Let's get started and add our scenarios. We're going under Data, What If Analysis, and the Scenario Manager. We're just going to add each one. And it's going to ask us what cells we want to change. In this case, we want to change the groceries, and I'm just going to press Control and hold it down now. Entertainment and savings. And now I'll let go of the control. We've got our 3 cells there. And the next dialog box asks for the values for those cells. And it's entering in the current values, which is what we want to use for the current or original budget. We'll click on OK there. Then we'll add our next one, where we are going to change each of these cells, and it still has the same cells, so we'll keep that. I'm going to decrease each of those to 250. And our last one still has our cells to change, so that's correct. We're going to change these to our lowest amounts. Yes, we still want to have some entertainment. So click on OK there, and we have our 3 scenarios. I'll click on the lowest expenses and tell it to show. And if you look at the numbers over here, you'll see how those will change. It applies the lowest expense amounts here so that you can see the effect of the lowest expenses on the income. We can do the same here, where it decreases each of these to 250, and you have your income left. This is why I think it's good to have your original numbers as a scenario. If you don't, then you can't automatically go back to those original numbers. You would have to type those in. But we have the original numbers here, so we can go back and show our original numbers. Now, what happens if you want to see all of those at the same time so that you can easily compare? You can do a summary report, and it's going to ask for the result cells. The result is the income. So we use the income left here, and it will show for each of those scenarios what the income left would be. It will create it in a new sheet, and here you can add, it doesn't have the labels, so you can add groceries, entertainment, and savings. And you can add income here. Now here it shows you the result of the income, and you can see that that lowest expenses scenario, which you would expect, would give you the most amount. And you can look at the different numbers for the scenarios to see how that would impact your income. Overall, the scenario is pretty flexible if you have different cases where you want to change specific multiple values.